All right, Janice here. This is the Mel Robbins training, coaching training that I earned from Success Club in January that I wanted to share with you. If you didn't hear my live video earlier in the team page, take a look at that because I truly want to pay this information forward to you. And I think those of you that did not earn this call need to hear this more than anything because I think some of the most important information seems to need to be earned. And I don't want you to feel like you have to earn it. I want you to feel like you can take this information and use it and apply it to help you reach your goals, whatever that looks like to you. So without further ado, I'm going to push play and we're recording. And I'm going to get my kids to be quiet so they don't interrupt the recording. And all right, here we go.
Hello and welcome and congratulations on achieving Success Club webcast with Mel Robbins. Now, for any of you that were at our leadership event, you know that Mel is a powerful speaker. She is the creator of a powerful mind trick called the 5-second rule based on her book, which will transform the way you think, how you work, and how you live. She's a best-selling author and an internationally recognized social media influencer. When Mel first shared the 5-second rule in a TEDx talk 6 years ago, she had no idea that it would generate more than 10 million views and become a global movement, changing the lives of millions. In addition, Mel has put together a great program for our coaches on the core habits you need to develop to increase your productivity. So if you want more confidence, if you want more courage, if you want to feel more in control of your life and work, get ready because you are about to learn how to do it. Please help me welcome Mel Robbins. Mel, are you there?
Hi, everybody.
Hello there. Welcome to Team Beachbody. Thank you for doing this call with us.
Of course, I am beyond excited. I probably shouldn't be sitting down because I feel like I'm a rocket ship that's about to blast out of this chair. I have so many incredible things to share with you that are going to help you build your business and a life that you love. So thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, that's awesome. We can't wait. Well, Mel, I really only have one job on this little webcast, and that is to tell people that if they have any questions or comments, they can post them, right? I think it's that way. I think that way or that way. I'm not sure. Somewhere on the side of one of these things, there's a comment thing, and you can post questions there. And towards the end of this, you're going to be taking some and answering some of those questions, time permitting. So I am going to get out of the way because I know that you have tons of stuff to share. So Mel, I'm going to turn it over to you. Take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to watch us. I'm going to put my glasses on for just a minute. I thought really deeply about what I could share with you that would have a meaningful impact on your business and on your life and on your ability to achieve the things that are really important to you. And so everything that we're about to cover today, these are things that I do in my own life and in my own business that have had a material impact on my ability to increase my sense of control, be more productive, and also combat the guilt that you can also often feel when you're working on your business and that's taking time away from your family, your friends, your loved ones. And so we're going to be talking about some really amazing things today. I'm going to preview that. Then I'm going to introduce myself very briefly to those of you that don't know me and aren't familiar with my work, and then we're going to get into it. So we're going to be talking today about the science of productivity. And what you're going to learn about me is that I really believe that the solutions to the problems that you face are actually really simple. And when you understand the science of how to get unstuck and how to be productive, suddenly making that pivot so that you become more productive, it's going to be a lot easier. So we're going to be talking today about the world that we live in, something that we call the attention economy. I'm going to explain a little bit about that and how that is one of the biggest obstacles that you're facing in your ability to remain focused on the things that are important to you. The next thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to steer into the 5 habits that are backed by science that will make you more productive. It's not about working harder. It's about working smarter. You can actually get more done in less time if you understand the science of productivity and how they will help you stay focused in the attention economy that we live in. Then we're going to do something super cool. We're going to be pulling some of the coaches from the audience around the country and going to be coaching them live. And then, guess what? We're going to be taking your questions live too. So make sure that you use the chat function. If you have a burning question, if something comes up, if you need clarification, get what you came for out of this training. Go to the chat function. You might have to log in. Don't worry about that. Nothing's wrong, but please participate. You're going to get more out of this. Now, speaking about participation, I want you to stop and think about something for just this minute. I want you to think about self-doubt. Each and every one of us faces self-doubt, and it is one of the biggest killers to your productivity. I want you to think about right now, or write down on a piece of paper, where is your own self-doubt interfering with your ability to build a business of your dreams? Write that down. Is it in making phone calls? Is it in staying focused? Is it in sharing what you're up to? Is it in getting even bigger and more vocal about the things that you're passionate about? Where is it that self-doubt is stopping you? Because I guarantee you, in the training today, you're going to learn a bunch of things, not only about self-doubt, but you're going to learn a ton of things about how you can combat it and establish and build the confidence and the courage that you need in order to build the life and the business that you love. So before we jump into the attention economy, let me just tell you a little bit about me, for those of you that don't know me. My career began about 10 years ago when I discovered this simple little mind hack called the 5-second rule. 5-second rule is a simple tool that's based in science that will help you maintain self-control, and it'll help you change your behavior in a moment's notice. The way the 5-second rule works is this. The moment that you know you need to do something and you can feel yourself pulling back. So let's say you want to post a social media post and you're going to be sharing about the products that you're using in Shakeology, or you're going to be sharing about the brand new program that's coming out that you can stream on the platform. And you go to start to type it in, right? And then all of a sudden you feel yourself hesitate. You hesitate, and you're hesitating because you're thinking, you start doubting yourself. Wow, what are people going to think if I post this? Am I bragging too much? Am I posting too much? That hesitation will trigger a chain of events in your brain that will then talk you out of actually doing it. The 5-second rule is going to retrain you. The moment that you would normally be stopped by fear or by self-doubt, the 5-second rule will actually push you forward and train you to be more courageous and more confident. So when you find yourself hesitating, the way the 5-second rule works is you just start counting backwards. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And when you hit 1, you move forward. One of the interesting things about life is that I believe that your entire life is defined by a gap that very few people talk about. You see, all day long, you're making decisions. All day long, things are happening to you. In fact, the experts pretty much believe that we make about 35,000 decisions a day, and they range from what you're going to eat, to whether or not you exercise, to whether or not you say what you mean, to whether or not you make a phone call, to whether or not you make that social media post that you started to hesitate on. And the thing about decisions like that is that all day long there's stuff happening to you, and then there's your reaction to it. And your entire life and your business is defined by this gap between the things that are happening and your reaction to it. And all too often, self-doubt is what's filling that gap. And it causes you to not post. It causes you to not make the phone call. It causes you to not be productive. It causes you to make decisions that actually work against what you want in your life and what you want in your business. And so your entire life can come down to this 5-second gap. And when you start to count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, you close the gap, you gain instant control. You also turn on your prefrontal cortex, which gives you immediate control over thought and action. And now you can beat self-doubt. So what I learned by using the 5-second rule. First, I used it to beat the snooze alarm, and then I started using it to have hard conversations, and then I used it to stop drinking so much, and then I used it to be more patient with my kids, and then I used it to exercise more, and then I used it to make healthier food options. Is what I learned is that, boy, change can actually be really simple when you understand the greater context and you also understand the science behind why we do things. And so today, what we're going to be talking about, many of you already know the 5-second rule. There's tons of free content online about the 5-second rule. You can use the 5-second rule to push yourself forward. And as we get into the live coaching part of this training, I might be pulling that out of the tool chest and coaching you on how you can use it to push yourself through some of the specific obstacles that are in your way. So the rest of what we're going to be talking about is the science of productivity. And the science of productivity is actually a lot simpler than you may think. So one of the things that I want you to understand before I jump into the 5 habits that you're going to be learning today that are all backed by science, that are going to increase your focus and help you to work smarter, is I want you to understand the greater context of the world that we're living in. As a mother of 3 and as a very, very busy business owner, one of the things that I think about a lot is how much the world has changed. And we're not going to get all philosophical, but what I want you to really understand is what you're up against based on the reality of the times that we live in. You and I, we now live in what I call the attention economy. That's a big fancy word that means something really simple. Your money flows where the attention goes. You can say that the other way too. Where your attention goes is where the money and all the love flows. And we live in a world where literally, think about this, every piece of technology is grabbing at your attention. I mean, think about how many television channels there are. Think about how many emails you get a day. Think about your news feed on Facebook and all of the social media. All of those things are vying for your attention. And there's something that's changed based on this puppy right here. So here's my smartphone. Never in the history of man and womankind have people had access to your attention like they do now. Now, one of the things that I know about you is that you have a commitment to build a business and a life that you love. Where your attention flows is where the money and the love goes. And right now, this puppy right here, this is full of people that are vying for your attention. It's a reality. It's not changing. In fact, I want you to consider that this moment right now is the calmest, slowest moment of the rest of your life. Things are only going to get faster. Things are going to only get more crazy with this. And here's the other thing. Where your attention flows, the money and the love goes. It not only works in your business, meaning if you put your attention on your business and on your relationships, that's where the love and the money will flow. It also works with this puppy. Every time that your attention goes here, and instead of making calls, you find yourself looking at Facebook and, the 7 secrets to being happier, ding, and you hit that thing, even though you were supposed to be on this making phone calls, you just made money for Facebook. You just made money for somebody else. And so right now, it is more important than ever that you and I learn the skill of being able to focus in a world where your attention is for sale. And so I have a question for you. This guy right here, this phone, it's supposed to be a tool for your business and for connecting with people that you love. But the question that I have is, who's actually the tool? When you think about how you use your phone, are you using it to make money? Are you using it to stay connected to loved ones? Or is Facebook and email and all of the noise on this, are they making money on your attention and are they distracting you? Now, I'm starting here because this is a really critical concept to grasp, so that you take the habits around productivity and focus more seriously. Anybody can give you tips on productivity, But until you understand the reality of the world that we're living in, and boy, this was a huge wake-up call for me. I wasn't even aware of how much I was using this thing for things that didn't even matter to me. They've done all these studies, and I want to roll out a couple numbers for you just to kind of set the problem in context for you. I mean, this is not only ruining our health, but it is one of the biggest reasons why it's so hard to focus today. So there's been a ton of research that's been done on people's phone use, not surveys, so not stuff that you and I fill out, but they actually look at the data on the phone. There was a study that came out 6 months ago. What percentage of people do you suspect check email in the middle of the night? Yeah, wake up and actually check email in the middle of the night. 33% of people. Now here's the thing that's really kind of eye-opening. When they looked at actual phone use on thousands and thousands of working professionals' phones, and then they asked people, how many of you are checking your emails in the middle of the night? Less than 10% of people said that they were. The phones proved that 33% of people were. We're not even aware of how much we're using this. Do you know how many times the average person awakens the phone, like taps it to wake it back up? 157 times. 157 times. And here's the most mind-blowing statistic of them all. So D-Scout did this huge research study where they, again, looked at actual phone use. The average working person, do you know how many times they touch, tap, swipe, love their phone every single day? 2,157 times. Now, you may be thinking, oh, that's not me, that's not me. The reason why I'm rolling out this research is because that's all of us. And particularly when you use the phone for your business, you're on it all the time. That means you're more susceptible to becoming really sucked in by the attention economy, to losing hours on end, kind of mindlessly scrolling and not being super intentional about this phone. Now, I raise that because when I started to look into the realities of the attention economy, and I started to look into my own habits around the phone, I started to realize that, holy cow, maybe I have more time than I think. Maybe the reason why I have such a hard time focusing has less to do with how much stuff I have going on and has more to do with the attention economy and the fact that I have terrible habits around this thing. I wonder if there's a connection between the fact that I'm on this all the time, but I'm not intentional about it, and how much I'm actually getting done. And it turns out, not only is there a connection, it's actually the problem and the solution is wrapped up in it. So I'm about to jump into the science of productivity and the 5 habits that are backed by science that are super easy and very simple and will change your life. You're going to hate most of them. I'm just going to warn you because I hated them in the beginning too until I saw the results. But I think it's really important for you to see this connection between the attention economy and the reality of what's happened with smartphones and how important the skill of managing your focus and your attention is to your ability to get everything that you want. And when we get into the live coaching, you're also going to start to see the connection between self-doubt and the attention economy and the connection between self-doubt and your ability to focus. So before I jump into the 5 habits, I want to remind you, you're going to get more out of this if you engage. So if you have a question, if there's an area of your life where self-doubt is really, it's something that you're struggling with, if you're up against the wall with productivity, there is absolutely no bounds to the questions that you could ask. Jump into the chat, because after I explain the 5 habits that are backed by productivity, we're going to go to live coaching. And I want to make sure that you get what you came for and you get your questions answered. So now that we've talked about the problem, other than self-doubt, and other than the fact that the reality is you have to fight for your attention. It's the number 1 asset that you have as a businesswoman and as a human being right now. And you're always going to be fighting against people that are vying for it. Now that we've talked about that, let's talk about the 5 habits that once I implemented them into my life, everything changed about my business, everything changed about my focus, and I became a better mother, a better leader, and a much better spouse. So 5 habits based on the science of productivity that I do every single day. Get ready to hate them all, but they really work. Number 1, and again, you're going to hate this, no phone in the bedroom. That's right. If you are serious about maintaining control of your life and of your focus, the first critical habit that I want you to try on is no phone in your bedroom. What does that mean? Here's what that means. Tonight, please try this tonight and then let us know on social media how it goes. Tag us on the social media. Tag Beachbody on social media. Let us know how this goes. Tonight, before you go to bed, I want you to plug your phone, not next to your bed. I want you to plug your phone in the kitchen, in your closet, in your bathroom, in your hallway, in your mudroom. I don't care where you plug it in, as long as it's not in your bedroom within reach of your bed. Now, why am I asking you to do this? The reason why is, in the attention economy, you can't trust yourself. In fact, I don't trust you with your own phone. And if your phone is plugged in next to your bed, what are you going to do? I know exactly what you're going to do because I already know what you do. Your phone is next to you in bed, right? You go to sleep, you're sleeping. What happens when you wake up? You roll over, you turn off the alarm, and then what do? You're lying in bed looking at your phone. If you want to know why you feel overwhelmed, why you feel a lack of focus, why you feel like you can never put yourself first, why you don't have any balance, it starts right here in the morning while you're lying in bed scrolling through Instagram, looking at everybody else's stuff, or reading emails. What's in an email? Nothing that relates to you achieving your dreams or being more connected with your family. Email is other people's stuff. I don't trust you with your phone, which is why I don't want it anywhere near your bed. I want you to wake up in the morning and have a fighting chance to maintain focus on the things that are important to you. I cannot underscore what a critical habit this is for you to develop. Now, I already know some of the objections. Objection number 1 is going to be, but I'm a single parent and I'm divorced and I gotta have my kids be able to connect with me. No problem. I totally get that too. Here's what you're gonna do. First of all, when you plug your phone into the kitchen or the closet or the bathroom, mine stays in my closet, you're gonna turn off all the because that stuff will wake you up all night long. And you're going to turn the ringer on. And then you're going to inform everybody in your life that needs to reach you that if they need to reach you for an emergency, they must call. Do not text. Trust me, that will train people. And if there's an emergency, they will call you. So that's rule number 1. No phone in the bedroom. The reason why is because I do not want you to wake up in the middle of the night and start reading emails. And I certainly don't want you to wake up in the morning and before you even get out of bed, have the attention economy flood into your brain and hijack your ability to focus. Because again, your number 1 skill that I want you to develop in the attention economy is the ability for you to maintain focus on the things that are important to you. I used to be the kind of person that was chronically complaining that I never had time for myself. I would constantly complain that I was overwhelmed. And I would also complain that I felt kind of unnerved throughout the day. And when I started plugging in the phone outside the bedroom, and I made it easier for myself to not mindlessly reach for my phone, and I gave myself space to be able to think about what was important to me, everything changed. Now, let's move on to the second habit that I want you to develop. So no phone in the bedroom so that when you wake up in the morning, the phone isn't there and you're not mindlessly reaching for it and letting everybody else's priorities flood into your brain. Habit number 2. The moment the alarm goes off, I want you to get out of bed. Now, I realize y'all are coaches and you're in incredible shape and you're committed to health. And so many of you already pop out of bed. But I want you to understand the science behind why it is so important that when the alarm rings, that you get out of bed, that you do not hit the snooze button and go back to sleep for 15 minutes. You know, it turns out the reason why it's so important for you to not hit the snooze button is because how you wake up impacts your productivity for up to 4 hours. Not when you wake up, how you wake up to 4 hours. So this was a really interesting piece of research that once I learned it was transformational for me, and it made a lot of sense when I looked back on my life in my days where I used to hit the snooze button. So let me explain a little bit about sleep. I know you are very well aware of why sleep is important. You are in the health and wellness field, so you understand this. But let me explain some of the science because it's kind of cool. So when you and I fall asleep, we fall asleep and we fall into what we call sleep cycles, where you're in a state of kind of deep dreaming. And a sleep cycle lasts about 75 minutes. And so what happens is you fall asleep, sleep cycle goes for about 75 minutes, and then another one starts for about 75 minutes, and then another one starts for about 75 minutes. And then you go into this stage where you slowly kind of thaw awake like a giant frozen chicken, okay, that's kind of coming up to room temperature. And typically your alarm goes off when you're in that kind of space where you're slowly thawing and coming awake, and that can take up to 2 hours. The alarm goes off, your mind's in that space of slowly coming awake, and now you're ready to start the day. What happens when you hit the snooze button is here you've been in the space in your brain of slowly being able to wake up. The alarm goes off. You then turn it off and hit the snooze. What do you suppose your brain does? That's right. Your brain drifts back to sleep and starts another sleep cycle. How long does that take? You're right, 75 minutes. So what happens then is the alarm goes off 15 minutes later, and you got to get out of bed. Your brain is stuck in a sleep cycle. And what happens when you get up out of bed, when your brain is stuck in a sleep cycle, is you are in a state called sleep inertia. I didn't make this up. This is what sleep researchers and neurologists have discovered. The cortic region of your brain, which is the part of the brain responsible for focus and productivity, it takes 4 hours for the cortic region of your brain to come out of sleep inertia. So the reason why people that hit the snooze button walk around throughout the day and go, gosh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, and you feel kind of groggy, it's not because you didn't get enough sleep. It's because you hit the snooze button, you drifted back to sleep, and then you interrupted yourself during the sleep cycle, and you put yourself in a state of sleep inertia. So the solution here for productivity is obviously no phone in the bedroom. When the alarm goes off, I want you to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Something happens, the alarm goes off, you got a gap. Are you going to hit the snooze, or are you going to get up? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 closes the gap. I want you to get up because I want you to put your best foot forward in terms of productivity. I don't want you in a state of sleep inertia. It's not going to help you focus. It's not going to help you keep control, and it's certainly not going to help you build your business. If you ever have, here's a little quick life hack. If you ever have an instance where, let's say you got to get up super early and you're only going to get 5 hours of sleep, and so you are going to interrupt the sleep cycle, the simple science-backed trick that'll snap you out of a state of sleep inertia is jump in a cold shower. It is not pleasant. You're going to hate it even more than leaving the phone outside your room and waking up when the alarm rings, but it snaps your mind awake and shocks your brain out of the state of sleep inertia. So again, why are we asking you to do this? Well, because in the attention economy, I want you to fight for your attention, and I want you to put your best foot forward. which means the phone not back next to the bed, put your best foot forward because it's not there for you to reach for it. And you getting up immediately means you are now able to take advantage of the best 2 hours for productivity of your brain. And that's the first 2 hours of the day. And you also haven't made it harder for yourself because you have not put yourself in a state of sleep inertia, which will impact you for 4 hours. So moving on. The third thing I want you to do, you're now up. The phone is not near you. If you're like me and you use your phone for your alarm, you've also set things up so you've kind of had to get out of bed because the alarm isn't right next to you. You have to walk across the bedroom, turn it off. By the time you've turned it off, you're now somewhat awake. Here's what I want you to do. Do not check the phone. I flip my phone over as soon as I turn off the alarm. I want you to take 5. I call this 30 before 7:30, but you can just call it take 5. I want you to take 5 minutes. I want you to take 5 minutes for yourself. Okay, if you can do 30 minutes right now, fantastic. But I know that the reality for so many of you that are watching is that you got young kids at home or you got a super busy life that starts first thing in the morning. You can't find 30 minutes right then. I want you to just take 5, okay? So you've gotten out of bed, you've turned off the alarm, you've flipped the phone over, walk away from the phone, take 5. What are you doing when you take 5? What you're going to do is you're going to sit down and you're going to plan your day. For those of you that never find time for yourself or feel like you're always scrambling, these 3 habits alone, no phone, get up when the alarm rings, then take 5 minutes for yourself, will change your entire life. I kid you not, it is the simple stuff that makes all the difference. Now, what are you doing when you take 5? What you're doing is you are putting yourself first. This is the moment in time where you dictate what happens today, where you get to say what's important to you. Now, there's a particular thing that I want you to do when you take 5. I want you, and this is your 4th habit, during the period where you're taking 5 minutes for yourself, I want you to write down one thing that you're going to get done today that matters to you. I would love it if it were something that was hard, but it doesn't matter. I just want one thing that you're going to focus on today. Now, why do I say one thing? The reason why I say I only want you to focus on one thing that matters to you, that you're going to be intentional about, that you're going to focus on. The reason why I believe so strongly in this is because of science. There is something that has been studied and written about at the Harvard Business School called the progress principle. You see, I don't believe that life and success is about plowing through your to-do lists. I believe that life and success actually comes down to your ability to make a little bit of progress every single day on the thing that really matters to you. And when they studied the progress principle, what they discovered is a number of things. Number 1, when you write down the one thing that you're going to focus on today, maybe the one thing that you're going to focus on today is making that one phone call you've been avoiding for a long time. Maybe the one thing that you're going to be focused on today is looking at the next 3 months and scheduling out meetings. Maybe the one thing that you're going to be focused on today is writing a rock star, raw, authentic, amazing post where you're sharing yourself more vulnerably about the work that you're doing on social media. Maybe the one thing that you're going to be doing today is actually being more present with your kids. This is something that matters to you. And what we find is that when you write down just one thing, we are leveraging something called the Zeigarnik effect. And the Zeigarnik effect is something related to your brain, which is your mind tends to remember the things that haven't been accomplished rather than the things that have. And so by writing down just one thing, you're now triggering that in your brain, and your mind is going to kind of keep reminding you all day long, oh yeah, remember that thing you wrote down during Take 5 thing? You put yourself first, don't forget about that, don't forget about that. The other thing that we're leveraging is all this incredible research about progress. So when you focus on one thing a day, what happens is super cool. When you make a little bit of progress on that one thing, you create a bit of momentum in your life because you see yourself moving forward on something, even just in a small way. You just move forward just a little bit. Maybe you're just going to call somebody that is higher up in the organization and get a little coaching. When you see yourself doing the thing that you wrote down and you see yourself making progress, it has this compound effect. And what they find in studies is that we move from 40% of you completing the one thing to 76% of you actually doing it. When I can focus you on this idea that your success is not going to come down to getting it all done, it's going to come down to shifting your mindset to becoming the kind of person that has the ability to make progress every single day, no matter how crazy your life gets. The other reason and final reason why I want you to really only focus on writing down one thing during this Take 5 period is because of this. The reality is your life is very busy. The reality is that things change every day. And the reality is that stuff is going to pop up all day long. And have you ever noticed that your kids and your family, they don't need to be on your to-do list because they have a way of being a priority. They have a way of making noise. If you work a job while you're also a coach, your job also happens to be one of those things that bubbles up. It's the important stuff that you need to move forward every day that's easy to drop by the wayside. And that's why I want you to focus on simply making progress. It's going to ease the pressure you feel. It's something that is so attainable, and it gives room for the reality of what it's like to be working. And many of you are working from home. We're going to be talking about that in some of the coaching sessions, I'm sure, and the challenges of that. But focus on progress instead of getting everything done. And you're going to see momentum build, and you're going to see yourself getting more stuff done. So, no phone in the bedroom, get up when the alarm rings, Take 5. During the Take 5, I want you to focus and write down one thing that you're going to focus on making progress today. And then finally, this is going to sound really weird, but this has been revolutionary for me in terms of my ability to set boundaries and my ability to both focus on work and focus on my family and my marriage and my friends and myself. This is a little piece of research that is just, it sounds so dumb, but it actually works. I want you, after you write down the one thing you're going to make progress on, the 5th productivity habit backed by science, write down when you're going to quit working today. You heard me. Write down when you're going to quit working today. This leverages something called Parkinson's law. Have you ever noticed that when you have a project you need to do, that project expands to the exact amount of time that you have to give to it? So let's say you got 2 weeks to work on writing up a proposal or working on a presentation. How long is it going to take you to do a presentation that you have 2 weeks to work on? 2 weeks. Let's say that you've got to give a presentation in 10 minutes. How long is it going to take you to get ready? 10 minutes. One of the things that setting your quitting time does is it sets a time marker in your brain. There's a piece of intentionality around it. And what happens is if you say, today I'm quitting at 3:30, today I'm quitting working at 5:30, today I'm quitting at 7:30 at night. Today I'm going to quit first at 5:30, then I'm going to be with my family, then I'm going to come back and work a little bit longer at 8:30. When you set that boundary for yourself at the beginning of the day, you become more productive because you've now given the work that needs to get done a window of time. I know you've experienced this. I know that many of you have had the experience where you've got a ton of stuff that you need to get done, and you've got a doctor's appointment, or you've got a plane to catch, or you've got a meeting, or you've got a soccer game that you got to go watch. And that external thing has created the quitting time for you. And boy, oh boy, aren't you productive as you're leading up to it. By setting your own quitting time, you are exercising the skill of focus. You are setting a really important boundary for yourself between how hard you're going to push it and when you're going to stop thinking about it and move on to the next thing. So let me recap these things, and then we're going to actually bring in some coaches from around the country and do some live coaching. And by the way, if you have a question, we're getting all kinds of questions coming in. We are going to be answering your questions. They can be about something we've talked about. We can be about the self-doubt that you can feel. It can be about business advice, anything you want. Get into the chats, get what you came for, and get your questions in there now. So let me recap. The science of productivity. This is simple stuff. You are capable of doing this. Please promise me you will try this. Try it for a week. If you hate it, don't do it. If it doesn't work, which isn't going to happen, by the way, but I want you to try it for just a week and see the impact that it has on your focus, see the impact that it has on your productivity, see the impact that it has on your ability to navigate the attention economy. Plug your phone somewhere outside of your bedroom. When the alarm rings tomorrow morning, wake up, don't hit the snooze button. Take 5 minutes or more for yourself before you turn on the TV, before you look at your phone, before you let the world in. Write down the one thing you're going to make progress on. The one thing, just a little bit of progress, and finally set your quitting time. What you're going to find is by having these habits, we are actually training you in the skill of focus. And that is going to pay dividends all day long, all week long, and all year long, and for the rest of your life. All right, now let's go to some live coaching. I want to talk to Coach Meg in Ohio is where we're going. Coach Meg, she's coming. There she is.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Mel. Thank you so much for those tips. It's amazing.
Well, you can thank me when you try them, but you're going to hate me when you try to do them, okay? I'm willing to be hated for you to get what you want. So what's your question, Meg? How can I help?
So I am extremely introverted, and I know that in order to succeed in this business, I have to put myself out there. I have to do cold calling. I have to, do things that make me uncomfortable, and I'm not really sure how to deal with that when I know it's necessary for my business to scale and grow.
Okay, so I would imagine that a lot of you watching can relate to Coach Meg. This is a really, really common thing that we hear, that your dreams and your goals, which are over here, require you over here to do something outside your comfort zone, right? That you feel introverted, that when you name some of the things other than cold calling that trigger your self-doubt or trigger your introverted nature.
Honestly, I would say just posting vulnerable posts on social media.
Okay. Anything else?
And just inviting people to the opportunity.
Gotcha. So I would imagine when I talked a little bit about the fact that things happen, you see somebody, you want to talk to them about your experience, invite them to the opportunity, and your reaction, that what happens for you is something happens and then self-doubt and being introverted kicks in. And what that triggers you to do is it triggers you to be silent. It triggers you to hide. It triggers you to edit what you might say. And it triggers you to talk yourself out of doing it. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's not going to get you to your goals, and you know that. And so I want you to understand that it's all about managing how you react to the trigger. So being introverted, you are always likely going to feel uncomfortable when you put yourself out there. Always. It's not in your nature to want to be the center of attention. It's not in your nature to want to call attention to yourself. Feeling uncomfortable, Meg, that's normal, okay? Letting it stop you is a choice. And this is the thing that I want you to understand, because there's a lot of science behind this. Our personalities are flexible. So you can be introverted. My husband is very introverted, but when it matters to you, you can act out of character in order to get what you want. And so I want you to embrace that it will always be out of character for you to post something vulnerable, that it will always be out of character for you to have those conversations, but you can choose to do it anyway. Now, the way that you're going to use the 5-second rule is you're going to use the 5-second rule to retrain your response to the triggers, okay? So you're sitting there about to write a social media post. That's what happens. The trigger is now you start to feel uncomfortable, so normally you would not do it. What you're going to do is the second that you start to feel uncomfortable, which is the trigger, you're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and you're going to push forward. Now, what's likely going to happen, because when you act out of your nature, it can be very energy depleting. So when you go and you have a conversation with somebody and you're kind of acting out of character, you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to invite them to this opportunity. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to make the phone call. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to post this post. You might feel your energy drain right afterwards. That's totally normal. Totally normal. The thing about being introverted versus extroverted, believe it or not, the simple definition of it is you are depleted when you're around a lot of people and you're the center of attention. People that are extroverted get a lot of energy from it. I'm depleted when I'm alone. And so one of the things I want you to understand is that that's just your nature, but it's a choice whether or not you let your nature dictate your actions. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes complete sense.
Okay, terrific. So for you, it is as simple as using the 5-second rule. If it matters enough to you, you can choose to push through your nature and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, choose to act differently. Then when you feel, the second piece of this is when you feel that natural depletion of energy after you've done the big burst, don't make yourself wrong. That's when you have to have compassion for yourself, okay?
Yes.
Awesome. Was that helpful?
So helpful. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Terrific. All right, next up, we're going to go to Coach Brianne in Texas. Here we go to Texas. And remember, there's still time for you to put your questions in. Hey, Coach Brianne, how you doing?
Hi, Mel. How are you?
I'm good.
So I, like a lot of coaches, I'm a mom. I've got 3 kids. I've got a baby at home. Kind of like no matter what I do, I really struggle to find like a work-life balance at home. And I feel like some days I'm just kind of spinning my wheels and everything I'm doing is sort of half-assed. I mean, how do you sort of manage it and balance it all when, you're trying to work, remotely at home?
It's an excellent question. How old are your kids?
10, 6, and 13 months. So I have a baby at home.
Okay. So one of the things is that, first of all, I don't actually believe in life balance. And the reason why is because when I would strive for it, so Chris and I, we have a 19-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And it seemed for me that balance was always unattainable because your family is dynamic. And just when we would get a carpool set up, one of my kids would change the sports they were in. Just when you think you got it, holy cow. Like it's not, it's something happens. And so when I made the switch, and this is why I love the habits that I went over, when I made the switch to focusing on making progress every day, rather than trying to hustle, and get it done, and fit it all in, something opened up for me. I was making myself wrong in every area of my life. I wasn't spending enough time with the kids. I wasn't spending enough time in the business. Like, as you said, half-ass, and we know you got to put your full ass into it, right? And so when I realized, holy cow, the game is actually about making progress. If I could stop beating myself up over the fact that I can't get through the to-do list, both with my family and with my business, and I can focus every day on just making and inching this forward, then maybe I can have a little compassion for myself. And by removing the guilt and the pressure, I'm going to be able to focus. So number one, I want you to stop trying to find balance, and I want you to try to find more ways to make small progress every single day. Second thing, quantity versus quality. When I focused on quality time with the kids and quality time in the business, things also changed. So, you can spend a ton of time with your kids and never be present. You can be super busy in your business and actually never get anything accomplished because you're avoiding the hard stuff. I would rather see you do one hard thing a day on your business and move it forward and then go be present with your kids than being super busy but not actually moving the ball forward, okay? Now, the other thing that's really going to help you, it's going to be hard with a 13-month-old, so you've got to have a little bit of compassion for where you are in terms of the ages of your kids. But the things that are going to be really important for you are the taking five. So you in particular, your kids, because you have a 13-month-old, they're a major priority, and a 13-month-old is very unpredictable in terms of routine and schedule and sleeping patterns and everything. And so the nature of where you're at in your life and in your family's phase is that you can't necessarily depend on a particular schedule. It's very hard to work while your child is napping because you're always worried about whether or not they're about to wake up, so you're not focused, right? So, have a little compassion for yourself. Super important. Like, what's going to happen for you, and this is how you can be flexible with these habits around productivity. No phone in the bedroom is going to be critical for you. Getting up when the alarm rings, critical for you. If the 13-month-old is right there, that's okay. The major thing that I don't want you to do is I don't want you looking at your phone until you've taken five for yourself. So if you've got kids your age where you've got breakfast in the morning and people need to get on a bus and lunches need to be packed and there's that kind of whole morning shuffle, totally cool. That's where your life is. So the way it's going to work for you is you're going to get up when the alarm rings, you're going to turn off the alarm on your phone, and then you're going to leave your phone somewhere other than the kitchen. You're going to go be with your family and be present during the morning rush. There's nothing that's an emergency at this moment. I don't want you focused on the television. I want you focused on your family. When everybody gets to that next phase and you got 5 minutes of quiet, before you look at your phone, before you check email, before you look at social media, I want you to take five for yourself, okay? Identify the one thing that you're going to work on. And now you've got the entire day before your quitting time where you're going to be present again to try to make progress on it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a way to kind of have all of these science-backed tools work for the reality of where you are in your life. Okay? Does that help? Is there any follow-up question?
Absolutely. No, I don't think so. Most days I try to get up before the kids to sort of have quiet time. But it doesn't always happen,
Of course, because that's life. And see, this is the power of switching your perspective from hammering it and getting everything done to literally building a business by making progress every day. Mm-hmm. Okay? Yeah. And because your family and with the ages of the kids and things are moving all the time, it is doubly critical that you fight the attention economy. Because your family is already the number one thing that is pulling on your attention. Do not let social media, do not let the television, do not let this become second. Your business, your goals, your health, your happiness needs to be the second thing. So that's why these habits are so critical, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. All right. Let's go to Indiana, where we got Coach Erin standing by. Where's Coach Erin? She's coming. Now remember, we still got time. Oh, there she is in the green.
Hello, Mel.
Hello.
I've taken so many notes. I cannot wait to implement
Awesome.
your tips. Love it.
Let us know on social media. Tag us all how you're doing.
Absolutely, I will. So my question is about rejection, because in our business, we are putting ourselves out there every day and all the time. And I'm dealing with this a lot. I'm getting a lot of objections, but a lot of rejection. And it's really hard for me to not take it personally and not let it kind of stall my workflow, my creativity, my productivity. And so I'm just wondering what kind of tips you have on overcoming any negative effects on this productivity so that I can keep moving forward.
Okay, so first of all, I love the question, and let's be honest, it really sucks to get a rejection. And I get it. And we can read all the positive Instagram postcards on the planet, and we post a lot of them. But at the end of the day, the reality is that it never feels good to get a rejection. And I like this question because the what, like in the gap that we're talking about, the what's happening is when somebody says no, or somebody rolls their eyes, or somebody says something snarky, all the various forms of rejection, right? Or somebody stops a subscription service, like whatever it may be. There is what happens, and then there's your reaction to it. And what we want to teach you to do over here is to change your reaction so that the rejection doesn't trigger you to go silent or trigger you to spiral. So there's a couple things that have helped me because there's literally always going to be an excuse not to do something, right? And rejection and feeling rejection is one of the biggest reasons not to move forward. Couple things. Number one, have you guys talked about the term sales ratio? Okay, so you know. So the most important thing is the fact that rejection feels personal, but business is about math. And so I want to make sure that each and every one of you has that ratio of how many conversations do I need to have to get to a yes, so that you can visually see that this isn't personal, it's math. So having the sales ratio front and center, it's a visual way to cue yourself to keep going. The second piece of advice, and y'all are going to hate this because y'all are coaches. Okay, you ready? You know how part of health and wellness is doing the stuff that stinks? Like not just watching the stream of the exercise video, but actually getting up and doing it along with Shanti or, Shailene or whoever's doing it. You actually got to do it even though you don't want to do it. And same thing with Shakeology. You got to eat the things that you don't want to eat, And so selling is the exact same way. If you can understand, particularly for those of you like Coach Meg, who are introverted, if you can understand that you can hate selling, but you can choose to do it. You can be terrified of rejection, but you can choose to do it. That it is a choice, and do not ever expect that you'll wake up and feel excited to do it. It's just like exercise. It's just like eating right. Sales is the exact same thing. It is all about the action that you take. And I get emotional about it too. I'm right there with you. I totally understand. And so what I really want you to do is I want you to try to remember, or actually, hold on. I have they're with the ADHD. I want you to think about it like an exercise routine. So if cold calling or conversations are the things that you fear because of the rejection, I want you to schedule a rejection block into your morning. Do it early. Do not do it later, because you'll be then feeling the anticipatory anxiety of it coming on. I want you to get it in early. Let's just do 10 minutes a day of rejection. Here's my rejection block, okay? And it's 10 minutes where I'm going to brace myself, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to brace myself again, 5, 4, 3, and then I'm done. Woo! Okay, I got that over with. Do you see what I mean? So you're acknowledging the reality, which is it stinks. It stinks to be told no, but you got to keep going. And then what is going to happen, just like with exercise, people hate it for the first 30 days, and then all of a sudden they start to miss it. People hate pushing themselves to a new routine, and then it gets easier and easier because you're building a new habit around it. And then what will happen in whatever, 20 days, 10 days, maybe in 3 days, you won't think about it as a rejection block. You'll think about it as, this is my sales ratio, and I see it shrinking because I'm getting better and better and better. Does that make sense? Now, final thing, is that a vision board behind you? Is that what I'm seeing?
That is, yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Okay. So Erin, I love vision boards, and having your why is critically important for you. One of the things that helps me deal with rejection, and let me see if I do have one right here. Behind me, I cleaned this up because this was like crazy messy behind me, and I wanted it to be very, very kind of focused for y'all. But that is normally a huge collage of social media posts, and we update it probably like every couple weeks. It's constantly new ones. And what I put up on my board in my office is I put up, in addition to my vision board about the why and why I'm doing what I'm doing and why it matters and all about the future and the vision, I also have an impact board. So what I want each and every one of you to do is take the best emails or the best before and after photos or the best thank you cards, all of the things that you've gotten that literally made you feel so proud that you're making a difference in people's lives. And if you've just gotten started, take the one that you got. And I want you to put that up somewhere that you can see it, because it stings when you get a no. And one of the things that I want you to do as your new way to shake it off is go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the reason why you count backwards is so that we can get you out of the habit part of the brain, which has you stop moving forward when you feel rejection, and move you to the prefrontal cortex, which puts you in control. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I want you to look up at your impact board. And I want you to remind yourself of the impact that it makes when you go through the no's and you get through to somebody that really needs to hear about this life-changing opportunity. So to recap for you, it's normal to feel the way that you do. It's a choice to let rejection stop you from moving forward. I want you to think about the sales ratio and how many no's you need to get a yes, and put that up to remind yourself. I want you to create a rejection block. Just start with 10 minutes where you're going to grit your teeth and, just like we do I'm going to, do the burpees today. Okay, I'm going to go along, right? You got your rejection block. And hey, you know what else you guys could do? If you have an accountability partner, you could schedule rejection blocks at the same time, put yourself on Zoom like we're doing here, and put the mute on, and both of you are making your calls at the same time. See what I'm saying? So you're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. And then finally, make an impact board. Got it?
Love it.
Awesome. Excellent question. Go get them. All right, cool. So now we're going to move into general Q&A, and we've had questions rolling in, and you're not too late. My business partner is sitting right next to me. So I've got a bunch here. Riel, does prayer or meditation count as taking 5? Absolutely. So here's what I want to do when you're done with prayer or meditation. So Riel asked, does prayer or meditation count as taking 5? Absolutely, because meditation is a way to focus your mind and settle your thoughts and make you understand that you are not your thoughts. Very powerful practice to have, and you can absolutely add it into these 5 science-backed productivity habits. What I want you to do as soon as you're done with your prayer or meditation practice is I want you to write down now whatever came up in your heart as the one thing you're going to make progress on. Can be personal, related to your family, can be something related to your business. But take that practice that you have that really settles you, gives you clarity, and is a way of powerfully starting your day, and then write down the one thing that you're going to do before you let the attention economy in. Excellent question. From Jen, I doubt I can lead my team well. Ooh. How can I convince myself that this isn't true? Okay, so there's a couple things I want to say to those of you that relate to Jen and say that self-doubt is impacting your ability to lead your team well and how you can convince yourself. While there's a lot of really positive affirmations out there, the way that you deal with self-doubt isn't through positive thinking. It's actually through action. So self-doubt is normal. You've heard me say this several times during the training. Feeling the doubt that you're not a good leader or that you don't do a good job with your team, those feelings are normal. Letting it stop you becomes a choice. And by choice, I mean if you sit, Jen, and think about all the ways you're not good, thinking those patterns is a habit. If you are concerned that you're not doing a good job, but you don't call your team and ask for feedback on how you can do a better job, that's a habit. When you look at the science of self-doubt and confidence, what we know is that the only way to truly build confidence and break the habit of doubting yourself is by teaching yourself to take action even when you feel that you're full of doubt. Because when you take action, number one, you stop thinking about the thing that you doubt. And number two, action is a very visible, demonstrative thing. So when you take action, you are witnessing yourself not being stopped by doubt. And by witnessing yourself doing something like no longer doubting and no longer thinking, but actually taking action, it changes how you perceive yourself. You see, confidence isn't believing in yourself. Confidence is a willingness to try and to take action even though you don't. So for you, Jen, there's a couple things that I want you to do. Number one, I'd like you to get on the phone with everybody that you lead, and I'd like you to ask them for specific feedback about what you could be doing to support them better. And then I want you to take my productivity habits, and when you don't have the phone in the bedroom and you get up on time and you do your take 5, I want part of your take 5 every day to be one small thing that you can do to make progress on becoming a better leader based on your team's feedback. You can also ask advice of leaders in the organization that you admire and ask for other things to do from them. You know, one of my favorite sayings, it's also kind of annoying because it's confronting when you live this way, is that if you have a problem that can be solved with an action, you don't have a problem. Let me say that again. If you have a problem that can be solved with action, you don't have a problem. So Jen, you don't have a problem. Yes, you are doubting whether or not you're good enough at leading. But what I want you to do is I want you to get out of the habit of merely thinking and worrying about it. And I want you to build a new habit, which is to start trying to improve your leadership by gathering feedback from either people you admire or people that you're leading. And then listen to it and intentionally try to do those things. And simply the act, Jen, I kid you not, of making the phone calls, of getting the feedback, of attempting to make progress on it every day. When you see yourself doing that, you can't doubt yourself because you're taking action. And by seeing yourself trying to move forward and by seeing yourself making the progress, all of the habits up here will slowly disappear because you're developing a new one. And plus your team probably has some incredible advice to give you. All right, here's another one. How do you balance work and life if you have a home office? Again, we kind of covered that one because don't focus on balance. focus on making progress every day. The other thing is, this might rub some of you a little bit wrong, but I've got teenagers, and teenagers are sort of like roaches. They go everywhere once they're there. I have made my desk a no homework zone, because what I was finding is that